Welcome back to Let's Try Iconoclasts. It's been a long road. So our trip to the moon did very little for us, really. The star worm is still here. All our efforts have more or less gone to waste. And all we've really gotten out of it in the end is that Black and Royal are more than likely gone. Worse yet, by our own hand. It's been emphasized pretty heavily up until now that we are a strict pacifist. We use a stun gun, for Pete's sake. We'd never really killed anyone until Black, which admittedly, that was in self-defense. We had to do it for the greater good of the world. Royal was a little closer to home. We did it for purely selfish reasons. Admittedly, you could justify it. It was justifiably selfish reasons. You could stay there and try to help him, but he wasn't going to help himself. So either you both die, or only he does. And it had a pretty clear effect on Robin. Elro wants us to stay in there with him. Elro has made some bad decisions. And though he's paying for them wholeheartedly, I feel like he's too broken at this point. And though by all rights, we should stay in there with him, what else can we do? Accept anything we can. Honest to goodness. I'm not going to speak much on it because I don't like speaking on it, but I admittedly do have some problems of my own. And that's at least somewhat brought to light here. Not in a way that makes me bothered. Though there has been a time, not in this game, but in another game that I did a Let's Play of, that something came up that did kind of bother me some. So I kind of tried to ignore it. But here, it more makes me think how I would handle the same situation. And given where I am, given what I think, and what I would do, I feel like my thoughts are always, if my options are die or do something with even the slightest potential of not, I'll do that. Hands down. 100%. Always. And I feel like that also helps because I'm not immediately facing the issue. I'm facing another issue. So we were told that the star worm crashed nearby. And it is, in fact, not very far off. Oh. He didn't seem to make it all that far. So you may recall the house here, where we jumped down to fight the very first boss of the game. There's our impact. So if you go too far down, right here, you can actually still get out. Because you can go back this way to the right. Which is the way we got out of that first boss fight. If you continue down, at this point, you can, I think you can still get back out. Yeah, you can still get out there. But as soon as you go down here, that's it. So, in the interest, as usual, of just knowing how far I am and when a good end point is, for me to go back and try to collect as many items as possible before we finish, I did look just briefly enough into this end to know that there is a brief segment that I can run through, and after that, I can still get back out. So today, we're gonna go further down. So this is another, and I apologize because you're not going to get my first reactions to this specific section, because I did want to make sure you could get out. So this actually took me a second to figure out, because this guy you can't hurt. Knock him on his head, and you can jump on him, just like the regular enemy, and you still can't hurt him. I tried blowing him up, I tried hitting him with an electric charged bomb, and you can't do it. What you can do, however, is teleport the blue thing off of him. And without anything for the blue thing to latch onto, it will just die outright. The spiky thing, the controller, you can just shoot until it dies. So these are actually some interesting fights. Because this first one, especially against just that very first enemy, where there was nothing here, nothing dangerous, it was kind of a free-form area for you to experiment. You had to figure out how to do it. And they gave you a reasonably painless enemy to deal with for that. So at this point, so you have to know how to kill these ghosts, which is kind of a challenge all on its own. You have to do it with an electric wrench. Maybe an electric bomb? Yeah, electric bombs do it too. But at least given my very limited experience, because you can just nuke the controllers when they show up, I find it way easier to kill the controllers first. Like, just kill them, then deal with the gimmick enemies. And that actually gets a little challenging. Now this guy's going super slow. Why are you going so slow? I managed to not tick off the other guy so that actually didn't go too painfully. That went well. Now we just got you to deal with. Assuming another controller doesn't show up. Yeah, another controller showed up. Come on. I was cornered. That was surprisingly easy. Yeah, I think it's just the two controllers. Going the wrong way, dude! It's not how you charge. For the record, this does very much show the difference between going into this knowing what you're doing and going into this not knowing what you're doing. Like, I've been a little frustrated at how poorly my playing and how slow my learning has been over the course of this. And a lot of that is chalked up to the fact that playing a game and doing all of that at the same time is naturally going to make, playing a game and commentating over it at the same time is going to drastically decrease how good you are at a game. But also, it's so horrendously slow to learn while doing the other things. So I think this is a decent comparison of how having already learned versus having not learned goes. Because I breezed through that super easy. I mean, I got hit maybe once or twice, but I'm leaving it with all my tweaks and full health. First time I left this, I was down all 3 tweaks and, like, I think maybe that last enemy gave me, like, most of my health back, but it was a slow ride. Just figuring out how to deal with everything. And that brings us to the bottom of the crater. The smoke's coming out of the right. One can only assume that's our goal. We have one of the old statues here of probably Father, but there's also a passage here to the left, which takes you right where you would expect, the strange contraption. And now, we're free. We can actually get back out of effectively a not be able to get out place. Which means now I'm going to take the opportunity to get every item I can. I'm going to do every item, I'm going to get every item and do every side quest that I can manage. I think there are some side quests that are restricted to New Game Plus that I will probably not be showing off, but I'm going to do everything I can. Because this is the end of the game. Going to the right is where the star worm is. And that's the end of the game. And that's it. 100% item collection. That is, however, not everything that there is to collect. Which means next time, we're still going to be doing some running around. That's every item in a chest, though. Every chest and schematic that's just laying about in the world. There are still quests out and about that give things as rewards, such as schematics. So that's next time. Until then, everyone.